Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Speaker, sir, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and ministers, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Sambu Vanaga, and a very good morning to you all. I extend our greetings to those that are joining us via live stream or through other media platforms. My words of welcome to our friends, young friends who were here earlier. I hope they're enjoying their visit to Suba. I'm sure they have seen bright lights before where they have come from. The speakers of the have just completed a visit to Japan, and today I rise to update this Honorable House on that visit earlier this month and to report on the continuing work that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade has been doing in strengthening Fiji's global partnership and our connection with Fijians living abroad. I want to begin by expressing my gratitude to the government of Japan for their kind invitation and also for the remarkable contributions that they have provided to Fiji over the years since we established our relationships 55 years ago. Both countries, Mr. Speaker, sir, share a long-standing friendship built on mutual respect, shared democratic values, and cooperation. We're also important partners in the maintenance of the rule-based international order based on the primacy of the rule of law. Speakers of the Fiji-Japan relations have resulted in cooperation that has progressed across a wide range of areas, including infrastructure, education, health and medical care, disaster prevention, security, justice, sports exchanges, and most recently, human mobility. Speaker, sir, it has been my intention to further deepen our ties with Japan, and I was honored to accept the gracious invitation that was extended to us by Japan to make this official visit from the 12th to the 15th of this month. I acknowledge the role played by the outgoing Japanese ambassador who hosted his last reception last night to say thank you and goodbye to his friends in Fiji before he takes up his next appointment in cold Europe. And he's sort of not really anticipating that. And he has promised that he will buy enough Fiji rum on his way out. We had I had a ministerial or a summit with the Prime Minister of Japan, a meeting that happened on the 13th of November. I had the distinct honor of meeting the newly elected and First Lady Prime Minister of Japan, Her Excellency Takaichi Sanai. The meeting proved to be highly beneficial as both parties participated in thorough discussions aimed at fostering bilateral cooperation. Among the key topics discussed were disaster risk resilience program, enhancing economic relations, and the importance of maritime security. The speakers, I want to emphasize that bilateral cooperation greatly assists in the preservation of national and regional peace and stability. I therefore wish, Mr. Speaker, sir, to acknowledge the profound contribution of the government of Japan and in this respect by designating Fiji as its inaugural recipient of official security assistance. Prime Minister Takaichi Sanae expressed her deep appreciation to Fiji for the trust in Japan's efforts regarding the discharge of Advanced Liquid Processing System, ALPS, treated water into the sea. Prime Minister Sanae reassured that Japan's activities and actions will continue to be transparent and accountable, based on scientific evidence to enhance confidence in safety. Mr. Speaker, this bilateral meeting provided an opportunity for both countries to address pertinent regional issues. Japan expressed its strong support for regional unity and the Pacific Islands Forum 2050 strategy, which exemplifies that commitment. Additionally, Japan reaffirms its dedication to fulfilling the commitments made at the 10th Pacific Island Leaders Meeting, PALM 10, which was held last year, and include a financial contribution of $3 million to Pacific Resilience Facility. Furthermore, Japan reaffirmed its support in preparation for PALM 11, scheduled to take place in 2027. They graciously acknowledged that I was the only leader at PALM 10 who was there at PALM 1 in 1994. Mr. Speaker, sir, recognizing that climate change is an existential threat in the Pacific, Japan acknowledges the importance of having Pacific Island countries represented in platforms like the Conference of Parties, COP, on climate change. The bilateral meeting culminated in the signing of the Lamavata-Kizuna Partnership, a joint communique that reaffirmed the bilateral relations of Fiji and Japan. The communique aims to further enhance cooperation across security, economic development, climate resilience, and cultural exchange. Meeting with the Minister for Defense, I had the privilege of participating in discussions with Japan's Defense Minister, His Excellency Shinichiro Koizumi, on the 12th of November at the Ministry of Defense headquarters. Our conversations were centered on enhancing maritime resilience and exploring avenues for humanitarian assistance. Minister Koizumi emphasized that Fiji is an important partner for Japan, as both nations share core values such as freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. He also highlighted Fiji's important role as one of the few countries in the Pacific region that maintains its own military. Mr. Speaker, sir, discussions focused on strategies to combat transnational organized crime that have severely impacted our security resources in the maritime space. Minister Koizumi presented information on the assistance that Japan can provide through the decommissioned naval vessels, which could significantly enhance our capacity to monitor activities that pose a threat to Fiji's maritime domain. Fiji showed its appreciation to Japan's ongoing support towards enhancing maritime resilience and humanitarian assistance across the Pacific, contributions in human resource development, and technical cooperation through its development agency, JICA. Fiji also notes Japan's support to the Pacific maritime and vocational sectors. Fiji remains committed to the collaboration through its recently opened Maritime Essential Services Center in Lami. Mr. Speaker, sir, I highlighted that the support and partnership directly contributed to the implementation of the Ocean of Peace Declaration in tandem with other Pacific Island Forum initiatives of the Boy Declaration and the 2050 Strategy for the Blue Pacific Continent, which reinforce the Pacific's collective commitment to peace, security, and development. Minister Koizumi paid tribute to Fiji's leadership in the Pacific and pledged Japan's commitment, continuing defense cooperation between the two countries. Mr. Koizumi reflected that a week prior to our meeting, Fiji Navy participated in the first ever joint exercise with the Japanese Navy, and he looks forward to the second Japan-Pacific Defense Dialogue in February of next year. Meeting with the Japan Minister for Land, Infrastructure, and Transport and Tourism. The Speaker, sir, I have been asked why I did not ask the Deputy Prime Minister to act while I was away. I was hoping that certain discussions in Japan would necessitate him leaving his post and coming to join me in some negotiations, particularly in civil aviation. My last bilateral meeting was with the Minister for Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism, His Excellency Mr. Yasushi Kaneko. Discussions in this meeting included the megaport construction and reviving the shipbuilding industry in Fiji. The bilateral discussions also focused on strengthening capacity building initiatives and enhancing support for Fiji's maritime security capabilities through collaboration with partners such as the Japan Coast Guard. And these engagements aim to improve our capabilities in search and rescue operations and advance other critical maritime security priorities. A memorandum of cooperation on technical interim training program. And this, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a subject that was going to be asked as a question later on. And I did not plan that this ministerial statement would cut across that question. Mr. Speaker, sir, this visit also provided the government of Fiji with a valuable opportunity to advance cooperation in human resource development and strengthen capacity building initiatives. At the margins of the visit, the Permanent Secretary for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, Mr. Chone Maritino Nemani, and the Commissioner of the Immigration Services Agency of Japan, Mr. Hidehari Naruyama, executed a Memorandum of Cooperation, MOC, on the Technical Intern Training Program. The MOC aims to transfer advanced technical skills and knowledge from Japan to Fiji, creating structured pathways for Fijian workers to gain practical experience at international standards. And in so doing, they are integrated into deep Japanese traditional culture at the workplace in what is globally recognized as the Japanese work ethic. This is a lesson that can inform Fijian efforts in incorporating our values into our very own work culture, or their values into our own work culture. The MOC initiative addresses critical labor market needs for both countries while deepening bilateral ties through cultural and people-to-people exchanges, fostering mutual economic resilience and partnerships. Speakers of the MOC establishes a structured framework that integrates labor mobility with capacity building, reflecting a commitment to workforce development, by both governments. The MOC addresses Fiji's challenges, both as brain drain and unemployment, while providing Japan with a mechanism to meet labor shortages, creating a mutually beneficial partnership that reinforces economic resilience while deepening bilateral ties. The Speaker said the MOC stands as a strategic framework that aligns Fiji's workforce aspirations with Japan's economic imperatives. The MOC sets the stage for sustainable human resource development and shared prosperity. I also had the opportunity to interact with our diaspora in Japan. It was a very, very easy evening. Unfortunately, my grandson was not there. He was on a rugby training camp in another area quite a distance from Tokyo. It is encouraging to see our people progressing and making significant contributions outside of Fiji. Their commitment to their families and homeland continues to play an important role in supporting our economy and promoting the nation's values abroad. I once again take this opportunity to commend the Fijian diaspora, not only in Japan but all over the world, for their valuable contributions to Fiji's development through their remittances, skills acquired while they're abroad, community initiatives. A lot of them help directly with their village programs and being outstanding ambassadors of the country. So I also had a bilateral meeting with the Japanese counterpart and facilitated site visits to key institutions. This included the National Agricultural Food Research Organization. I would like to encourage the Minister of Agriculture to encourage our own research station, Cornevia, to link up with the National Agriculture and Food Research Organization of Japan. I also visited Yokohama Port and Keihin Koyasu Shipyard and the Narita Airport. This visit provided valuable insights and lessons that hold significant relevance for the context of Fiji. The National Agricultural Food Research Organization visit, that was a real eye-opener. It started with a tour of the facility. NARA serves as Japan's largest leading research institution, dedicated to agricultural and food sciences with 3,300 employees and 1,700 researchers. Operating under the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, it conducts cutting-edge research in areas such as crop improvement, livestock development, soil health, and climate-resilient farming. Mr. Speaker, sir, through its work, NARO helps enhance productivity and efficiency in Japan's agricultural sector, which is critical for a country with limited arable land and an aging farming population. Beyond productivity, NARO is instrumental in safeguarding Japan's food supply and environmental sustainability. It develops technology to reduce pesticide use, improve water management, and adapt crops to changing climate conditions. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji can learn a lot to enhance its own agriculture sector by adopting relevant strategies from Japan through NARO. These would include strengthening farmer cooperatives for shared resources and market access, investing in climate-resilient technologies, to drought-tolerant crops and precision irrigation, and strengthening the agricultural research hub to drive innovation such as the one we have in Cornwall. These approaches, if adopted in a suitable scale, can help Fiji improve productivity, adapt to climate challenges, and build a more resilient and sustainable, inclusive agricultural economy. This would greatly contribute to food security and sustainable farming techniques in the region. Yokohama Port, Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the operators there, was established in 1874. The year Fiji was ceded to Great Britain. They were already running those big ports. They accommodate numerous cruise and cargo ships, Mr. Speaker, sir, making it a gateway for both commercial and passenger traffic. It boasts over 90 regular international container shipping routes connecting Japan to the global market. Speaker, sir, I have just a little more, but I will table the address in its written form for those who are coming after us and those who may want to read the statement for their own benefit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.